If you have thought that treating narcissism and emotional abuse is impossible, I want you to think again. At least give me a chance to explain myself. I'm Dr. David Hawkins, Director of the Marriage Recovery Center and the Emotional Abuse Institute, where we specialize in the treatment of victims and perpetrators of narcissistic and emotional abuse. And while it is an uphill journey for both victims and perpetrators, it's a long, challenging journey. But I want to talk specifically now about treating perpetrators of narcissistic and emotional abuse. And again, if you're believing all of the hype that narcissists can't be treated, well, I really do want you to think again, because narcissism and emotional abuse is all on a spectrum. Are there individuals who are untreatable? For sure. For sure. Are many of them difficult to treat? Again, for sure. But here is the key. If there is a structured and viable path of healing, then treatment is possible. Now, let me say those words again, because I really want you to get this. There needs to be a structured and viable path of healing. What does that mean, Dr. Hawkins? Well, it means that traditional counseling is not going to be effective. It is not going to be effective because there are 5 key issues that must be addressed when we're talking about narcissistic and emotional abuse. And here are those 5 key issues, and each one of them need to fit in to a structured and viable path of healing done by a professional who knows about narcissism and emotional abuse, who has a ton of experience with narcissism and emotional abuse, and who can really discern which individuals are treatable and which ones are not. And there's a distinction. But those that may be treatable need to address these 5 issues. Number 1, their attitude of arrogance and superiority must be treated. It must be treated. There must be a focused level of treatment on that in and of itself. An attitude of superiority and arrogance, believing that they are right. And that takes structure and a viable program to treat that. Number 2, there must be treatment of pervasive emotional immaturity. Pervasive emotional immaturity. It's a big deal, I know. So if you have been victimized by a narcissist or emotional abuser, you know that they are in a grown-up body, but they are an emotional child. And that must be specifically treated. It must be treated. Their patterns of emotional immaturity, pouting, withdrawing, passive aggression, stonewalling. Like, come on. They need to grow up. But telling them to just grow up won't do it. Of course it won't do it. They need to be in a structured program where their patterns of emotional immaturity are brought to light. And her voice needs to be listened to. And her voice needs to be brought into the treatment process. Number 3, there must be treatment for pervasive patterns of self-protection. What are those, Dr. Hawkins? Oh, those are patterns of denial, minimization, rationalization, defensiveness, blame shifting, playing the victim, excuse making. All of those, and there's many, many more. They're called thinking errors or cognitive distortion. Those patterns of self-protection, I didn't do it, it wasn't me, I wasn't there, must be confronted. How? In a structured and viable path of healing, a structured program. Number 4, there must be treatment for their pervasive lack of empathy. Empathy, as we know, is it's a skill that can be cultivated. Thank goodness, thank God. Empathy can be developed, cultivated. This must be done ever so carefully. It can be done by practicing empathy with one's children, with one's mate, with one's friend, with one's pet. I mean, any number of ways of walking in another person's shoes and imagining what must they be feeling. And that, again, must be treated in a structured and viable path of healing, a program specifically designed to enhance and cultivate empathy. And last, number 5, there must be treatment for the lack of dedication to change. Oh my goodness. Narcissistic and emotional abusers take shortcuts. They think that going to 4 counseling sessions is a big deal. It's not. They think going to a little bit of counseling is a big deal. It's not. And they need a structured and viable path of healing. And they need it for an ongoing, long-term basis. I would venture to say it must be a 1 to 2 year process of intensive treatment. And then that has the possibility of bringing about change. All right, again, is treatment for narcissistic and emotional abuse possible? It is. Is there hope? There is. Only if that individual, the perpetrator, is in a structured and viable path of healing, designed to bring about change. Change of what? Change in their underlying attitude of arrogance, change in their pervasive emotional immaturity, change in their pervasive patterns of self-protection, change in their lack of empathy, and change in their tendency to not be dedicated to the change process. All right. I hope this has been helpful to you. We are always available to answer questions about our 3-tiered program for perpetrators of narcissistic and emotional abuse. And we're here. We've got a client care team ready to answer your questions. Whatever you do, get the best help possible. Shortcuts won't do it. Quick fixes aren't available. And real treatment is what can bring about lasting change. All right. Take care, and as always, God bless.